Sign up today for a 7-day free trial at alerts.chartguys.com. Hey everyone, checking in on the cryptocurrency space. So the Bitcoin bulls are still thriving. We do have a bearish reversal doji on the daily time frame. Definitely worth paying attention to because we have seen such a strong move over the last 7 days. The S&P 500 is green today, so the stock market is bouncing. Perhaps that's also a little bit of a factor as to why we're seeing a bit of a pullback. We'll see how significant that inverse correlation remains. So I did end up getting in on some of the bullish action after missing a good chunk of this move. Last night I entered on the 4-hour higher low, knowing that the uptrend had been so strong. Knowing that the exponential support was a good visual guide, I made a solid entry and then I scaled in to 5-minute oversold conditions in the 11.7, 11.6,000 range, and then overnight woke up to a pleasant surprise. That being said, I woke up to a 5-day maker, and by the time I exited my position, it was down to a 2.5-day maker, and that's because I woke up when we were up at 12,200. I scaled out half of my position, pretty much 12,100 to 12,250, and then on this dump that we saw, I was actively trading it. So I did a couple oversold bounces, just real quick flips. First trade I did was 11,000. Let's see, the first one was 11,611 to 11,711, and I did that twice. I'm forgetting the exact numbers. I believe it was 11,711 to 11,811, and then 11,600 to 11,700. Just two little $100 scalps, and I sold both of them. I held the trade for less than 60 seconds. So less than a minute, I was scalping just under 1. And again, yes, it's not significant amounts, and there are fees that eat into those profits, but it still ends up being hundreds of dollars, and that's hundreds of dollars more than I had previously. So I traded that and then sold the rest of my position into this bounce. I currently have a very small portion, maybe 20% of the trade left, with a stop under the double bottom as 11,565 and 11,530. I consider that a double bottom, and that's our 4-hour higher low. So that is the line in the sand where if that level does break, the 4-hour uptrend is lost and daily consolidation will be underway. So it's essentially, are we going to form a lower high? And bears, you better believe they're going to be top fishing resistance of 12,320, looking for an entry, and then hoping the price rolls over to a 4-hour lower high and lower low, and then we zoom out to the daily, and we look for a healthy daily higher low to form. And I do expect there will be bulls to buy this daily higher low, as the chart has not consolidated in the last week to give bulls another entry opportunity. So checking in on ETH, and that's pretty much what it boils down to. Line in the sand. If that holds, the bulls keep control. If that level is lost, daily consolidation is underway. ETH 236.58. Again, we got over it, just not a ton of follow through. The weekly or the daily trend change without follow through means watch out for a weekly bear flag. So yes, the bulls are holding on just fine, but it's not the kind of convincing follow through that makes us comfortable on that weekly time frame. And if we see Bitcoin consolidate on the daily for a day or two, that's going to be a scenario where Ethereum gets the bull break straight into consolidation, which is the last thing you want to see as a bull. You want to see a bull break with increasing bull volume and follow through. And that's not what we have right now on Ethereum. The ETH BTC chart is still all bears. The weekly bear flag was confirmed here when we changed the 4-hour trend, which has just been grinding down this exponential resistance. We're just going to look for a daily lower high. Again, I'm keeping an eye out for these Bitcoin pairing charts for when the daily trend changes, but we haven't seen anything significant. What does this remind me of, this Ethereum daily chart? It reminds me right back here, what we already saw on the Bitcoin pairing chart. The daily trend changed, we got no follow through, and then the weekly bear flag was confirmed. Is that going to be a glimpse into the future of what the USD pairings are going to do? I don't know, but I'm absolutely paying attention to it. LTC USD, 106.04, bulls broke that level, and no follow through. If we see a bear break of 90.52, that's a red flag for the bulls. Again, it's the exact same thing. Weekly time frame, have to be cautious of a bear flag. The Bitcoin pairing chart saw the daily trend change with no follow through, and then we dropped down and did end up breaking that double bottom, only just barely. I would still consider that a double bottom, but the bulls obviously are not showing us anything. So same question, is the Bitcoin pairing chart giving us a glimpse into the future as to what's to come on the US dollar chart? XRP USD, Also still weak, unable to break 341 at this point. And if we see a bear break of 308, that's a red flag for bulls for the potential of a weekly bear flag. Binance still in the daily equilibrium, expecting a break probably tomorrow. 2708, most important support. 2877, most important resistance. Those are the levels to be watching within this range. And there will be a trade there. Again, want to see follow through. And ideally, when I'm looking at this, and this is something that I get from the stock market, if I'm trading an individual name in the stock market, I know there's correlations with that individual name and the S&P 500. So I ideally want the wind at my back, where if I'm playing a name bullish, I want the S&P 500 to be bullish because that only helps. And likewise, if I'm bearish. So if I see Binance break this equilibrium bullish straight into Bitcoin daily consolidation, I'm going to play that move less aggressively and I'm less likely to play it. If the break occurs in the same direction that Bitcoin is going, again, that's wind at the back of the direction of that trade, and it only helps. And the best trades are when you have everything going in the same direction, and that means going in the direction of Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency space. Link USD, so we still have this resistance of 284 that the bulls were not able to get over. So right now we are in a pattern of still lower highs and lower lows. The bulls have to hold $2 and break 284 to see a notable trend change on the daily that would tell us the weekly high or low has been established. And at this point, I would be looking for hourly oversold conditions, which we just touched and then bounced. So that first hourly oversold condition, 230 up to 245, essentially a solid 5+% bounce in just 2 hours. So again, when we're coming off of a bull move, and that's the same thing for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does roll over, we're going to be looking for the first hourly oversold bounce to get a decent little follow through. And that's where I look for day trades. Solid bull move, first 5-minute oversold, first hourly oversold, look for little day trade flips. Otherwise, establishing swing trade game plans by perhaps patiently waiting for a daily higher low to form, and so on and so forth. So I'm back to mostly all cash, just a little bit of a position. And again, of course, I still have my long-term no-touch positions. The bulls have made a very notable break. 13,202, 13,868 are the only resistance levels that are clearly nearby. The weekly chart, exponential support will continue to be important now that we bounced right off of it for 3 weeks. And it's just a matter of time before we will know, are we going to lose the weekly exponential support and lose weekly bull momentum? Or are we going to break 13,800 and look back at the all-time high? And we should get an answer within the month of August. Certainly favors the bulls at this point. Burden of proof on the bears. Have to lose the daily uptrend, and we know that the next time we consolidate on the daily, a higher low is very likely to form. So I appreciate you watching. I hope you do wonderful things out there. End of the video here, nothing new for content, so we're going back to 2011, 8 years ago, road tripping, California, Highway 1, East Coast camping, and a good spot. See you next time.